Right now we're in our off-road mode, or G mode. The way you get to that is you have to go to low range, and then it automatically puts you in it. So now we've got, this is our roll in degrees, percent, gradient, and then it's showing our steering angle. This is our heading, and then you can see the diffs are now illuminated, and it's going to start showing when I lock them, it will illuminate them in yellow to show you which ones are locked. We're going to start off putting our suspension to the test. We're going to go across our railroad tracks. And now we're going to drop into the potholes. Wherever you're from, we can go over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everyone's got bad potholes. Doesn't matter whether you're from Seattle, Oakland, San Francisco, LA, let's see, Houston, Dallas, yeah, Oklahoma, New Jersey, Florida, New York, Boston, Ohio, Detroit. So now we're on our tilt test. You can see the ground's pretty close over there. I'm not really too concerned because we're only at 23 degrees of roll. I say only at 23 degrees of roll angle. We can go up to 36 degrees of roll angle with this car. It just comes down to the fact that the weight's pretty low in central. Even though it feels pretty nimble, this is a 5,400 pound car at curb weight. All right, so now we're gonna head up our next gradient. This is really child's play for the G-Wagon. We can go up a 55 degree hill, not percent grade. So 55 degrees is over 100% grade. So we'll stop here at about 30%. What I'm going to show off now, this is not really this is not a feature that's just exclusive to the G-Wagon or off-road mode. This is hill hold assist. So any of our cars that have brake hold, if you're sitting on a hill, say at a stoplight, sitting with your foot on the brake, and then all of a sudden traffic goes, you go from the brake over to the gas, and you hesitate, or you sneeze or something, you're not going to roll backwards. It's going to maintain brake pressure for you until you give it enough gas to pull away. So you can feel I'm going to go from the brake, not touching the brake, now to the gas, and we can have that long of a delay without rolling backwards, without actually engaging brake hold itself. All right, now we're going to roll through kind of a maneuvering section. Just barely make it. The improved front suspension is helping out there a little bit. Now we have independent front suspension instead of a solid front axle.
Yeah.
Still a big turning circle. It is a big car though. All right, now if you've been in a GLS off-road, we've got typically what we call DSR, which is downhill speed regulation. We don't have that in the G-Wagon, but we do have in G mode. We can go with the low range gear. It's now a 40% higher gear ratio. And then we've got so much torque with our bi-turbo V8 that we can go to I can just lock us into to first gear in manual mode, and just the engine braking will be able to hold us at about 4 or 5 miles an hour all the way down this hill. And this is a 50% grade. We should do that again, right? Let's do that again. Let's back up.
I forgot to push the play button.
All right, here we'll go back to the data screen. So now we're at a 40% grade. I'll walk us down with the brakes now. Let's get up to, should be able to get to about a 50% gradient right around here. Yeah, there we go, 52%. So now in front of us, we've got this issue. Typically when you're off-roading, come into a gully, you're concerned about digging in with the nose, scraping the tail, getting stuck. But we've got a 30-degree approach angle with this car and a 31-degree departure angle. If you look at the data screen, you can kind of see the diagram of the car. The axles are really close to each end of the vehicle. There's minimal front and rear overhangs, and that's what gives us that off-road performance. Then also, due to the length of the wheelbase, just I'll cover it here while we're talking about approach and departure angles, we have a 26-degree brake over angle, which is pretty impressive. All right, so I'm just going to use G mode in first gear to walk us through the rest of the gully. No scrapes, no bumps. I've got the parking sensors turned off, so it's nice and quiet. And now we're going to get squared up with, a typical Alabama driveway, right? What everyone's driveway looks like at home. We'll lock in our center differential. So when you lock in the differentials in the G-Wagon, it turns off ESP and ABS. So I got that locked. We're in low range, and now we're going to go through the boulder climb. Boulder field here, so I'm just going to take it nice and easy. Okay, so this is where I like to talk about this. Making cake, this piece of cake for this car. Does anyone know what? So in G-Wagon, it's Geländewagen. It's the full word in German. Anyone know what that translates to in English?
Family wagon or something?
Not quite. It's very deadpan, classic German engineer. It's very to the point. It's off-road vehicle. And it's definitely an off-road vehicle. All right, so we're gonna deactivate our center transfer case diff, and now what we're gonna do is just drive off with one wheel. So I've got 3 rollers now, all 3 wheels on rollers. The right rear is on concrete. When I go to give it gas, 4 ETS is gonna help control wheel spin on the other 3 wheels and send power to the right rear. So I'm gonna go full throttle, a little bit of wheel spin, and then we drive off with one wheel.
Nice.
All right, so now this is our anthill or the Mercedes mound. We're gonna do a tilt test or a torsion test and try to torque the chassis over as much as we can. Let's see if I can get us balanced on 2 wheels. We'll back up a little bit. There we go. Now we're on 2 wheels. So sitting on 2 wheels now, I'm trying to torque the whole chassis. This is where I'd be concerned about, say, opening the door. Because if we were in something else that didn't have a solid chassis, I wouldn't be able to close it. But you close the door as well. That comes down to the fact that the chassis itself is rigid. We're deriving the rigidity from the different metal and welds in the base chassis from the body shop, not leaning on the doors or the windshield or the sunroof or the rear hatch. We can open all of them and close them again without any issues. All right, now I'll walk us down off of this. There we go. You have the world's most expensive playground teeter-totter. Just shows that we don't grow up, the toys just get more expensive. Now we're going to go on the first gear. I'm just going to use our engine braking to control our speed. My feet are off the pedals through our moguls. These are 10 to 12 inches tall. Still a pretty smooth ride, even though we're going from droop to full compression pretty rapidly. And now we've got the wading pool. This wading pool is about 18 inches of water today. You can see I'm actually dragging a pretty good bit of water out with me. But we can go up to 27.6 inches of wading depth. It's a 4-inch increase over the previous year, without any risk of doing damage to the vehicle. We got the V8, the exhaust is dumping out straight to the water. All right, now don't you hate it when you're at work and the elevator's broken and you gotta take the stairs? All right, so here we go. We're gonna go up the steps. Again, that was too easy, right? Let's make it a little harder. Let's back down the steps. All right, we're gonna start right in the middle of the staircase now. So no run up. I'm just gonna ease onto the gas and we drive out, no problem. It's pretty absurd, right? In a good way. Any questions?
Can we do it again?
I wish we had time.